Welcome to the PicoScope 7 Test and Measurement Early Access Program. PicoScope 7 is the next generation user interface for all PicoScope real-time PC-based oscilloscopes. There are PicoScope 7 versions for Windows, Mac and Linux operating systems. Download the version that you want from picotech.com/downloads. Our development team are building PicoScope 7 function by function with the goal to match the current PicoScope 6 features early in 2022. After that, we'll be adding a wide range of new features to address new and evolving test challenges. The Early Access program is intended to give PicoScope users a preview of what the user interface looks like and a chance to provide feedback to our team during the development process. This video, recorded in August 2021, was made with PicoScope 7.0.79 Windows version. New versions of PicoScope 7 Early Access are being released roughly once every 2 weeks, with new features being added and bugs fixed each time. Now let's have a look at PicoScope 7 screen layout and main controls. We'll start the tour at the top left hand side of the PicoScope 7 UI with the running and the stop button. Running, obviously the scope is running and is collecting data, and stop, it means it's frozen. And to the right of that, along that top bar, are a series of primary controls. Essentially they are the primary horizontal controls. So to begin with, the time base, and we can make it go a little faster with the minus sign on the left hand side there, or slow it down with the plus button on the right hand side. These little areas here are called lozenges. They open up another menu, so if I click on the time base lozenge there, inside we've got some other options to do with the time base settings, sampling controls and so on and so forth. Now I'm not going to go into detail with those at this stage. They'll be the subject of another video a little later on. If you click outside of that menu there, you're back to the normal operation of the PicoScope. To the right of the time base control is the trigger control. Again, we can nudge the trigger level down or up using the minus and the plus buttons. The waveform buffer control over here, so I've got it set to record the last 10 buffers here. That's adjustable from within the menu. Again, we'll look at that in more detail later on. And for PicoScope FlexRes models, I'm connected here to a PicoScope 5444D MSO. So in that case, I have a control for the hardware resolution of the PicoScope. Next is the instruments control function. So I'm using the instrument at the moment as a standard oscilloscope. I could switch it to run in the frequency domain, so to run in spectrum mode, and some work still to be done by developers will be an XY mode that's coming a little later. We could hit the auto setup button if we've got an unknown signal to set the vertical and horizontal settings to make sense from the beginning. And then we have some controls to do with opening files, so we can open PS data files, PS settings files, in order to put the instrument in a known state at the beginning of a test. The save button allows us to do a few things, so it puts us in a default folder, gives us a default file name, and we can save PS data files, so PicoScope data files, which contain all of the waveform information of one or more buffers. PS settings file, which simply saves the settings of the instrument for subsequent recall. A tab delimited text document of the waveforms, or you can use it to save the user default settings of the instrument, so that subsequently the next time that you power the instrument up, it will be powered up in the condition that it is now when you save that those settings. And then finally along the top is the full screen, so we can go into full screen, and so we then use all of the screen to display the graph area of the waveforms, and we lose, for that moment, we lose the controls, and to get them back it's F11, and we're back then to the normal operation. So those are the main controls along the top bar there. Beneath the run stop button are the vertical controls, so the channel settings, so channel A, B, C and D in this case, in this 4-channel scope. And again we have these plus and minus buttons to enable us to nudge the vertical settings in a 1-2-5 increment sequence by tapping inside the vertical market lozenge. It brings up the vertical channel settings, and there's quite a bit in there that we'll look at again as another video. So there are 4 channels, 4 different colors, A, B, C and D. In this case, because I'm connected to a mixed signal oscilloscope, an MSO, I have some digital channels, and they're organized in 2 groups of 8. So I've got groups D0 to D7 and D8 to D15, which in fact are the ones that I'm using in this capture here. And then there are some other more general purpose controls down here. So if I hit the More button, you can see that there are a whole series of functions such as math channels, measurements, reference waveforms and so on, rulers, serial decoding. And notice that by each category of function in there is a little star, and the functions that you'll be using most frequently, it makes sense if you click on those. So if you're going to be sending feedback to us very frequently, click on the star, and it will then make that that feedback, in this case, it will make that present permanently in this sort of clipboard area down here. Things that you'll be using less frequently, so if we don't want to use the About PicoScope so much, or we're not interested in serial decoding, we can keep things simple in that area down there at the bottom. So that's really what those controls are there, as I say, uncovered by the More function. The main area that you see here on the screen is the waveform display area, or the graph area, and let's just freeze that for a moment, and you can zoom in. So zoom in on a captured waveform, and then on the graph display you can organize that display pretty much in any way that you like, with a combination of analog channels, digital channels, reference memory channels, math channels. They can all go onto that graphical display. There's quite a bit more to it than that, because you can have multiple windows and put those other windows on other parts of the display, or indeed you can put them on other displays. If you've got your laptop or your PC connected to multiple displays, you can have multiple windows and have different channels or different functions or measurements in those other windows and display. So there's a lot of flexibility there, but it's beyond the this first initial look at the PicoScope 7 interface. So we'll come on to those in subsequent videos. So that's it for now. We'll come back to you later with more videos on PicoScope 7. Thanks for watching.